up the small narrow streets until the Forum Square. We'll go there as well since we have time this morning to see the Garden Van Gogh. So here at that point I will let you something like half an hour if you want to buy postcards or go to toilet. It's also important. And I will finish after the tour here on the main square. Okay? And after that, it's easy. If you want to go back by yourself, if you want to go around, from here it's straight and straight. Okay, just have to walk straight until the river. The only thing, be careful, you need to go up the river. If you go down the river, you will finish in the Camargue area with the bulls. So be careful, this is just the point. Anyway, if you want to come back with me, this is exactly the same way I will use, okay? Good for that? So it's not really big walk, but I need to against the Gallic people in the countryside. And they were losing. So they decided to call someone to help them. And in 125 BC, who are the most powerful people? The Romans, of course. So the Romans came here, defeated the Gallic, but instead of going back to Italy, they said, no, we like this place, it's good weather, good food, and especially good position. Because here in the south of France, we are exactly between Italy here, and we want to see some tomatoes, courgettes, zucchinis, and eggplant. But Roman architecture, so this is what we could call the classical style in architecture. The classical style would be more 1700. In the middle we have this mosaic, which is more typical, the end of the 1800s. But inside this is a copy of a painting of Raphael, the poesy of Raphael from the 50s.
I'm Naomi, and I'm very excited to show you the world's greatest attractions. In the midst of the small town of Arles, France, is an unexpected taste of Rome. The amphitheater has been a central part of the town for over 2,000 years. In Roman times, it was the scene of gladiator battles, races, and other sporting events. In the medieval ages, the amphitheater became a fortress, and a small town grew within it. In the early 1800s, this amazing and ancient structure was restored to its former state. The amphitheater is a marvel of antiquity, well worth the trip.
About my bullfights, since I started the bullfights. So, I told you we have two different kind of games. The famous corrida, Spanish bull, and this is the corrida. Okay, forget about that. We'll run like that, straight. And it's easy to take off. But after, when they understood that the people always want 90% of the bulls finish in sausage or meat, this is the, well, they breed the bulls for that, actually. It's like cows. There are three colors: rice, black, red, and white. I tell you all of that so you have ideas for souvenirs, maybe. So this is the point. So now, let's talk about the Roman. So this is the point. So, I know you visited the Colosseum, but maybe I still can learn a few things. Let's start, because after, well, an arena is an arena. I mean, well, the Colosseum, it's Rome, okay, blah, 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 it's big, 70,000 people, okay. Bon, I remember you, Rome was 1 million of inhabitants. So here we had a city, 20,000 people, and this arena could receive 20,000 people. So it's quite big for the size of the city. Vote, I will vote for you. This is the point. So, propaganda is always like that. You have a kind of ticket. With your ticket, so actually we calculated that this amphitheater could be empty in 7 minutes, which is faster than today, I told you. The Colosseum, it was 20 minutes. So it's so fast for that, for this organization. And actually, if you imagine a Colosseum, an amphitheater empty in 7 minutes, it's like it's throwing up the people. And in fact, the name of the corridors, it's Vomitorium, voila. Not because it's preserved than the amphitheater, but it's as well older. It was built more or less in zero. So 100 years before the amphitheater. Well, actually, if you want to see, this theater used to be as high as this one. So this is why I told you, quite destroyed nowadays. we calculated yellow. You have very easy. This one at the top, it has big ear, so this one is interesting as well. Yes, it's a pharmacy there. So, by the way, I will finish there. Okay, let's continue. If not.
It's always a good idea to get with the rhythm and timing of a local schedule when you're traveling. For example, don't sit down to have dinner early if you can avoid it, because it's a great time to be out walking around. Shops are open, the locals are out walking, lighting is perfect. You've got that mix of the soft street lighting and the evening skylight, so postpone your dinner until about 8 o'clock if you can. And when you pick a little restaurant on a side lane, it probably won't get too crowded. But that depends on the season and the day of the week. In our case, it was November and we were eating on a weeknight. So we had our pick of restaurants, no problem getting a table. And excellent service and, of course, delicious foods. Sometimes with interiors dating back several centuries with that authentic, original barrel vaulting. Look for restaurants on the quiet side lanes rather than the busy plazas, because you'll get lower prices, less crowding, better food, and friendly service. The most famous plaza in town with some of those restaurants is Place du Forum. It's truly one of the most beautiful spots in town, but it does have restaurants and bars that are rather touristic, with a very recognizable cafe that was immortalized by Van Gogh in one of his most well-known paintings, which is commonly but incorrectly called the Night Cafe. The real name of the painting is Cafe Terrace at Night. It's a beautiful spot to have a look at, especially at twilight. You might want to sit down and have a drink, pretend you're inside the painting. Van Gogh lived in Arles and nearby Saint-Remy during the final 2.5 years of his life, and nearly all of the works in his distinctive style were created during that time period, when he produced over 150 paintings, and yet none of his original work is on view in Arles. So visiting the Van Gogh Cafe is a nice way to absorb some of that feeling. And you can also do a self-guided walk through town looking at 10 reproductions of his work displayed outdoors at the sites where they were created.
We could say in the dark, but he was the first one to go outside during the night to paint. The legends say that sometimes he had some candles on the hat. So when you go back to the boat, you will see, I couldn't talk about it before, there is the first starry night that Van Gogh did in Arles, with the view on the Rhone River. So that's, on the way back you can see it. It's just really close to the where you were waiting for me. Some people, you were waiting close to this painting. So here we have, by the way here, this is not black. In Provence, Van Gogh stopped using black. He was using only deep Prussian blue. So here, the only difference, this tower, it's not here. But now, look carefully the painting and the building. So since I start to talk too much, I will help you. You should look at the colors. You know, it's when we are kids, when you have to see the differences between the things. And you should look at the colors, and especially on the first floor. I helped you out. Look here. It's almost blue. And it's not blue here. So why? Because actually, at Van Gogh moment, this building was not yellow at all. This building was white, like this one. So why it's yellow? Because, of course, Van Gogh did it on purpose. He wanted to paint the reflection of the light. He was interested in the lights and the lights. So actually here, they decided to, I showed you the background. And this is Gauguin style, those sharp lines and the contrast between each And so they decided to take everything, and they took the statue. But the problem, when they started to ship it, the guy who had the statue said, no way, we cannot turn Miss Stalin a weapon. This one is a typical one. This is what we call actually very particularly, it's a private nature. Un hôtel de police, it's police station. And un hôtel de ville, it's a city hall. So un hôtel-dieu, God hotel. He spent some weeks here in this hospital, going back home, back hospital, back home. And this is the painting he did from his bedroom. So this is probably, this is the nun holding the hospital. But probably the three are still the same. But there's something which is not logical. You see here, he did a garden with some flowers. This is why now it's a garden with flowers. So it's not logical for a hospital. A hospital would have more medicinal herbs or maybe some vegetables with more medicinal herbs, but actually not flowers. This is the only difference. So when he was here, after a while, the people of Arles were sick, were tired about this redhead painter running everywhere with a Dutch accent, and they decided to do a petition against Van Gogh. So this is why he had to leave. And he had to leave in May 1889. He decided himself to take the train and to go to Saint-Rémy-de-Provence by himself. Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, why? Because there was a psychiatric hospital there, held by a doctor that Van Gogh knew. So this is why he decided to go there himself. In Saint-Rémy, it will pass 1 year, an entire year, and this is the famous place where he did the famous Starry Night. But, for example, also this one, here, you see again difference from what he did in Arles. He could sometimes go outside the bedroom, sometimes he could not. He was not completely crazy. He was bipolar, depressive, but not completely crazy. But if you see the way they were treated, hours and hours in cold bath, you're not crazy before, you're crazy after. So well. And after 1 year there, he could leave, because since he decided to go there, he could leave and decided in May 1890 to go back to Auvers-sur-Oise, close to Paris, because his brother was just married and was afraid to be, well, he was a bit jealous probably. And only 2 months later, in July 1890, he committed suicide. So he was, when he died, he was 37 years old. He sold only 1 painting in his whole life. Here in Provence, he did almost 300. But one in his whole life, he died poor and unknown, and only 20 years later, he would start to voilà. In the Roman circus, so outside the city, and who decided to raise it right here in the middle. The famous, the Sun King, who decided to put as well the sun at the top. It's Louis XIV, when he decided to remove here all the things that were here and build a royal place, we can say. By the way, he did that exactly when he built again the city hall there. So this one again is the end of 1600. And when the sun works just a very, very, very still the Sun King so like the flag of Barcelona. Because to be complicated for a while, the king of Barcelona was as well king of Provence. Well, I didn't complicate too much, but after, well, the king of Provence was king of this one of the palace as well, and as well, the lion is the symbol of Arles. This is why you can see it everywhere. And here, the red and yellow stripes, this is the flag of the historic, I don't know if you know this here, but everything is an asterisk. So they could not choose. Here, the entire city center of Arles, it's UNESCO World Heritage. In Avignon, you have the Palace, the walls, and the bridge. The Palace, the wall, and the bridge. Here is everything. So up like that, it's easy to escape, but still. And I told you it's Romanesque architecture, but it's more Provençal Romanesque. What's the slight difference? Here especially we are inspired by the Roman architecture. Look, the top, it's like the fronton of a Roman temple. And under, it's quite decent to pagan village. Power of church, power of evangels. Easy, you understood that, and you can pass away your pray, whatever you want to. But at least it's what it is.
They're good, aren't they? Very good.
It's got some small ones.
It's a bit small, doesn't it, against that hole? But that's as big as us.
I wonder whether it's worth the trouble.
icicles on the top.
Non, je pas, c'est qu'il y a... comment ça s'appelle
Vous avez pu le prendre le château pendant qu'on est?
Non, pardon.
Mais là, c'est pas dynamique. C'est pas dynamique, ça s'appelait excursion dynamique. The camera.
If it goes down, you have to jump in.
Yeah.
It's almost like.
Oh, ada ke ini udah tim misi. तो एक खत्म दे रहे मागिन मैंने टीवी देखने वाली पुरानी की ना मैंने संडे रोज
ci metto solo. No, no tanto. No, soltanto la anche ce va.
On devait partir à 11h. On a eu des cartons. Je vois là. Ça, c'est vraiment une terre. C'est pas mal de cartons. Waouh! Avec le voyage depuis les moments, c'est là. J'ai vu de. Quand j'aurai une photographie dans ce truc-là, ça va me faire un petit tête. Moi, j'ai fait la toile. Je tombe sur cette photo un gros plan là.
Et même dans les écluses.
Pennsylvania. Concorde had crossed the Atlantic faster than any plane ever before, breaking a record by 6 minutes.
එනවා නේද ඔය එළියට කොහෙන්ද බල්කනි එක උඩ මිනිහෙක් ඉන්නේ අර උඩට මිනිස්සු
On va aller en bas là-bas, tu vois.
well established here with 2 children. And our daughter has a son.
They're good fun, aren't they?
Cheers, santé, for you, for your husband. Cheers.
Salute.
Thank you.
Very,
very enjoyable.
Yeah, this is his drink.
Thank you.
Et où le verre?
Oh, the navigator.